What's up, everybody? We are outside in downtown LA. We are outside of the federal courthouse where Tom Girardi's mental competency hearing is going on. This is Erika Jayne's estranged husband of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fame, and really well known in the LA legal community. He's been a kingmaker around here forever. Big cases all over the country, mass torts lawyer, and it all fell apart in 2020. He ended up getting indicted on federal charges in California and Chicago, accused of stealing from his clients. He basically was just operating a giant Ponzi scheme for years and years and years. So he is now in an assisted living center, and he claims that he has dementia, and his lawyers are saying that he is incompetent to stand trial. So this is the hearing to decide that, and we've got expert testimony is what we're going to hear today. And I got to say, it's a little surprising to me that the judge and the prosecutors didn't really expect this to be like a multi-day hearing. We don't see a lot of mental competency hearings in federal court. At least I haven't, but I did see a mental competency hearing back in Boise, Idaho in 2013. That was like a 2 or 3 week hearing. I mean, the idea that this would get done in one day is just kind of crazy. And I'm wondering how much prosecutors banked on the fact that this is a judge and the experts' reports are with her, and it's not like a jury where you have to do all this convincing and everything. They really don't seem prepared to do much questioning in there at all. They didn't do any direct questioning. It just went into cross-examination. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the best approach here, because while it is a judge, Judge Staten did even say something about how part of her job here is to that credibility of witnesses, and that she might benefit from being able to hear questions of the witnesses and see the witnesses in person rather than just reading their report. I mean, I'm frankly kind of shocked that they weren't totally prepared to put their witnesses on and ask all the questions about the report. Like the mental competency hearing I covered in Boise was a judge too. Obviously, you're not going to have a jury decide this, but it was completely robust. The District of Idaho U.S. Attorney's Office actually brought in a special guy I think he was from the Chicago U.S. Attorney's Office, who helped on that. But it was Wendy Olson, who was the top U.S. attorney in Idaho at the time, and Tracy Whalen, who's in charge of the North Idaho office. They had a big operation for it, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks of witnesses on both sides. So Judge Staten has already said that this is going to go longer than one day, obviously, and it doesn't even look like we're going to get through Goldstein, the witness who's testifying, Craig Harbor, who's Girardi's lawyer, the public defender, who's really putting on it. Probably has maybe 2 or 3 hours. So, I mean, yeah, we're definitely coming back, and it's not going to be tomorrow because the judge doesn't have another day blocked off for this tomorrow. We're going to be coming back later on. And of course, the judge does have a lot of discretion here. She can cut this off and it's cumulative, and she doesn't need to hear any of it. But she can't do that with just the first witness. The other 3 witnesses, we're definitely going to be hearing from them. And prosecutors even said today that they have lay witnesses that they could call if they needed to, if Judge Staten wants that. But they also submitted reports or summaries of their statements to the judge that they kind of seem to think that is sufficient. But I just get the impression this is not a quick or totally easy decision for Judge Staten. She asked a question near the end of it that I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be as slam dunk for the prosecutors as they think, because there was a question about Girardi's the size of his hippocampus, and Harbor was getting on Diana Goldstein about the fact that if you took 184-year-olds and compared all the hippocampus, Girardi's would be the smallest. And Staten was brought that up and asked about the fact that they also say that there's kind of with 84-year-olds that there's like a 19% figure for people showing dementia signs when you're 84. So she was saying, is there some overlap there? I mean, I frankly have always kind of assumed she would find him incompetent. I mean, maybe she won't, maybe I'll be wrong, but I just don't think this is as easy as decision for prosecutors as they're making this out to be. Because, I mean, it seems like everyone kind of agreeing that he has something. It's just the prosecution's experts are saying that he's totally, and it doesn't have anything to do with his actual competency to stand trial. So we're going to need to get that a little bit more in there. But I know there's been a lot of interest in this just from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills crowd, but it's definitely, a court hearing in there. It's well, it's a really slow question, but it's repetitive. And Judge Staten even stopped Craig Harborough and said, she knows it's a jury that he's doing an exam for. That's important for him to repeat himself to really kind of drive home his point. But she said, you don't need to do that with me. I usually catch the first time. So she's it seems like we're kind of surprised that there was going to be this extensive. Like I said, the only other mental competency hearing I've covered, there were tons of witnesses. It was a huge case. So I did an update on Twitter. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an article today. If anything, the article is about how right off the gate, the first questions are sort of about an interview she did with Richard Marmoro. So I was like, oh, I know him. He was an attorney. He's retired now, but he was an attorney who actually did a trial, the first federal trial that I watched down in Orange County, a big insider trading case. He was a big-time lawyer with Skadden Arps, and he was friends with Girardi for 20 years. So Diana Goldstein interviewed Richard Marmoro to prepare this report, and Harborough's questions were about some of that. It wasn't completely clear to me. It didn't say exactly what Richard Marmoro said about Tom Girardi, but Harborough was bringing up the fact that Richard Marmoro's son works in the U.S. Attorney's Office, so kind of trying to imply there'd be like some ulterior motive for Richard Marmoro to like throw Tom Girardi under the bus, but that wasn't really expanded on very much at all. But it was said later on that Richard Marmoro and Tom Girardi were golf buddies, country club golf buddies, and they would go on golf tournaments together, and that Marmoro actually was at the courthouse in March 2020 and saw Tom Girardi and saw him being confused about where he was, needing direction from security. And there was a question about whether he recognized Marmoro or not. And Marmoro said that he wasn't sure, but that he acknowledged him, but he didn't say, "Hi, Richie," which is how Girardi would normally want to do it. So again, this is only the first expert, and we've got like 3 or 4, or definitely 3 more experts to get through, and probably some lay witnesses. So, and then remember, the idea that the judge is going to rule from the bench is, I think, obsolete. She's not going to do that. She's going to end up issuing a written ruling. So we're a few a ways away from an actual decision here, but we're definitely going to get more of a feel for the afternoon as things go by. I think the next witness for prosecutors is Ryan Darby. He's a neuropsychologist at Vanderbilt. Had to fly out from Nashville from this. And prosecutor, my jaw dropped when he said this. When he's like, "Oh, well, we were hoping to get him on and off the stand today." It's what planet is this, dude? No, this is a big thing. It's going to take a long time. So Judge Staten said that, yeah, Nashville and then fly back to LA for the next day's hearing. So I did post a video of him going in, was able to get that. Let's see if I can bring that up here on Twitter. I know it's just kind of a matter of tapping into the crowd that's actually interested in this, because there's always a lot going on the internet. But I was talking to Emily Baker at Law Nerd, because she's done a lot of stuff on the Girardi case. So it's just a matter of kind of sending the people my way and getting them to realize that I'm covering this. But we've got the video coming up here. If anybody has any questions, ask them in the chat. Like I said, we're still on the first witness, and the biggest surprise in there is that people thought that this was going to be like a quick hearing. But Girardi is, there's been no outburst, and I actually told somebody, I was like, it's going to be disappointing if there's just, he never falls asleep, he never, I don't know, we just haven't. But one other report, I would describe his shoes as slippers. I'll have to get those are the kind of questions that we toss around, but he definitely looks vacant. I mean, I asked a couple questions when he was going in. Nobody really expected the answer, but kind of talked about this on other lives. I mean, there's kind of a line between just hiring somebody, like kind of just harassing them when you know they're not going to answer questions, and then just letting somebody like Tom Girardi walk into the courthouse with no questions at all. Like, he just gets to walk in silence. No, ask him a question. I thought, "Are you ashamed of yourself?" was a fair one. But I mean, of course they're not answering. But in terms of just how he looks, he's pretty he looks pretty vacant. Gosh, there is a freaking look at this. I mean, they just cannot give up. It's funny because they talk out both sides of their mouth. On the one hand, I'm obsessed with this case. On the one hand, they just will not go away and just like, dude, nothing. But anyway, I told everybody, I sent this out in the legal community, that this video will be available to watch later. So as time to tune in, check it out. But I'll try to do these lives more later on. People can ask questions, that kind of thing, get a group in. But like I said, there's just not much going on in there other than just your typical witness questions. It's kind of the shock of me realizing that people in there actually thought this was a quick hearing, and me kind of, if the prosecutors are realizing that they need to put on more of a robust examination of their witnesses. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe the reports are just fine. But like Judge Staten says, she wants to, I mean, part of it is assessing the credibility of witnesses, and that might help to hear these reports, because, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much what the actual defense experts are like, and how they do on examination and that kind of thing. So they're back at 12:42 now. They're back at 1:15. It's not hard seating in there. They've got an overflow courtroom, but it's no, I don't know if anyone's up there. There's plenty in the actual courtroom to sit in there. So yeah, if somebody says thanks for covering this, Tom Girardi was a legal legend and icon. Yeah, definitely, especially being at the Daily Journal. I tried to find, but I saw him at an event or a dinner, a sleep community dinner in LA, and met him then. And I mean, the rumor was, I never actually saw it, but other people at the Daily Journal told me that David Houston, our editor, actually had a picture of Girardi hanging in his office. Like, they were always going to dinner. Reporter friend Justin, who worked at the Daily Journal, actually wrote a column on his Substack about what it was like to date Tom when he was at the Daily Journal. He went to Morton's a couple times with Tom. And the Daily Journal is just like this hubby little newspaper for lawyers. So all the lawyers want to feel like they have an in with the reporters and can get their good stuff promoted. So I mean, I knew him through that. Being the Orange County reporter, I never actually wrote about his cases very much, but really that's a good thing, because Justin wrote the problems that he would get into with the Daily Journal editors, like trying to actually do some reporting on Tom Girardi. They just weren't interested in it. So somebody says, how long do you think it will last? And I was saying that definitely a few more days. We're going to be going all day today, and then it's not tomorrow because the judge doesn't have it scheduled for then. He's going to have to schedule another later in the month, or in early September or something. And she had said this at the status conference a couple weeks ago, when she asked if it was going to get done in one day, and Girardi's lawyer, Craig Harborough, was like, no, I'm one day or away. And she was like, well, let's just see how it goes and play it by ear. So, oh, it's Emily. Hey, what's up, Emily? I'm like, I told her I tried to do a chat message in her thing the other day, and it just got buried in like 2 seconds. So mine's a little more calmer. But yeah, I'm glad to break it down for you all, guys. I'd love to go on later on. We can kind of get into the details. Okay, this is funny. No, I'm not saying Girardi kept a Daily Journal. I'm saying that's the newspaper I worked for. It was called the Last Daily Journal. It's still called that. I'm just saying that's how I was familiar with his stature in the legal community. They haven't said anything about him actually keeping like a daily diary or anything like that. Somebody says, oh, that's the same one. It's devastating for victim settlement money was stolen. Absolutely, but I mean, this whole hearing really kind of has nothing to do with that. And I mean, he could end up being found guilty or pleading guilty or something, and there'd be a restitution thing. But the biggest hope for the victims to get any kind of settlement is the bankruptcy proceedings. What the trustee is doing, clawing back all the money and trying to recoup something to pay off his long list of creditors. That's the bankruptcy proceeding is the big thing for the victims. This isn't anything like that. Oh, somebody's saying, okay, they're saying that he kept the journal. Yeah. About, I'm wondering if I'm getting. I didn't get the best episode. Too much. Somebody says, "What's up?" I recognize them from the Tory Lanez case. Yes. What's up? I'm looking for. I was like kind of looking forward to wading into a more of an adult Girardi stuff. Hopefully, there's some people from the legal community on here. But I tell everybody that they can come out. They can watch the video anytime. It doesn't need to be live. But it'd be great if we got some people in here to ask some questions and that kind of thing. But yeah, and that person's saying he's just saying kept a journal. I or anything like that. What else we got here? Somebody was saying, oh, I heard Erika Jayne might show up. No, she's not. I mean, she's only going to come in here if she's a witness. They're not going to call her as a witness. And yeah, Emily's chat's wild, the Wild West. But we've got a lot of the same kind of overlap on the Girardi stuff. So we'll hopefully sit down and do a big come together on that. Yeah, exactly. And this guy says the defense opposition to the competency claim to the feds was very comprehensive. Does Girardi just have one attorney? No, he's got multiple people with the Federal Defender's Office. Georgina Wakefield actually just did. She just did a motion to withdraw, but I think she's in there. I think she's the one who actually walked Girardi into court. Craig is the one doing all the questioning, and he's got with him, but he's one of the more senior members of the Federal Defender's Office. He was at a private firm for a while and then came back a couple of years ago. And I said on Twitter that the only other time I've seen him in action is first bombing trial for Stephen Beale that happened last summer, and it was actually coincidentally in front of Judge Staten. And I mean, he's a performer. You can tell he's like kind of a theater guy too. But he did a good closing on that, I remember. And I mean, Stephen Beale, the bombing suspect, has got to be one of the guiltiest guys who ever walked. And Harborough was able to get a hung jury on that. He wasn't the lawyer the second trial, and Beale got convicted. But I think Craig is definitely one of the top people in the Federal Defender's Office, and just how he questions witnesses and everything. But like I said, the judge did remind him that this isn't a jury that you're in front of. This is me. So here I got the video I got of him that I can show here. Coming in. This was kind of the thing to do this morning too. Everybody was waiting for it. Tom, welcome back to the courthouse. Do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say to your former clients?
How are you feeling today, Tom?
Are you ashamed of yourself? I think that's true with him, but I'm not completely sure.
How are you feeling today, Tom?
Well, we're cutting out. It's probably just the internet connection in there. Oh, someone says they're waiting for the Eastman trial. I'm like, well, the Eastman trial is back tomorrow. I'm going to be working from home, so I'll probably listen to it. But the Eastman trial is ever, and it's long to. The judge is hard to listen to, and she doesn't really make decisions. So I'm not sure about the Eastman stuff. It's kind of crazy to me that she didn't just say it's off because of the amendment. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fair question because I actually talked about this on a live last time, because when he went into the courthouse for the arraignment, I mean, people said at the very beginning, like, hey, do you want to comment? And which is just the worst question. Hey, do you have any? But and some people, there's kind of a debate on Twitter, like other reporters who've heard Girardi before, like should we have done that? Like should we have asked him more questions? And I'm like, there's definitely a fine line between asking questions and being a just kind of badgering somebody that you don't know is going to talk. So yeah, you know, here's the.
How you feeling today, Tom?
Are you ashamed of yourself?
How you feeling today, Tom?
You know, and I know I'm having connection problems out here. I don't have the best internet connection, so really, I think I'm going to sign off and hopefully hop back on. I don't think tonight, just because there's not going to be all that much more to update tonight. Oh, there's my HomePod. The guy with the camera right in front of his face. I know that guy from the Tory Lane stuff all the time. He always has my back. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a scene when he goes in. He asked last week, his lawyers asked if he could waive his appeal. Judge Staten said no. So yeah, sorry for the bad connection out here, guys. But exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I think to just keep asking him questions, you know, like I said, there's just kind of a fine line between, are you just badgering somebody to try to get a camera reaction, or like, are you made that somebody like Tom Girardi doesn't get to walk into a courthouse like with a red carpet rolled out for him, and all the reporters are just like, oh, sir, do you have anything you want? Oh, no, okay, ask him a question. Like, so, I think I might have. Somebody asked. You know, sorry, I have bad connection here. I'll have to fix that for the next one, because somebody asks, "Are you coming back on the live?" And as of now, I think I am live. So I think that's a sign my connection's a little bad. So I'm just going to sign off, and hopefully the video turns out okay. But thank you all for tuning in. I will work on my connection issues and update you all later. Thank you.